talk about some Counter-Strike, because that's what we're here for. Just give you the first section of give you Counter-Strike. Just give you a general update. There's been some things in the news recently that have been, catching my interest, especially the North American scene, and a lot of players quitting out that North American scene. That's caught my interest. But, we'll go through the news first of all. So anyways, guys, once again, welcome to Chilltime with Jose. I am Jose, your host for today, and we're going to go, we're going to talk about CSGO quite a bit. There's quite a few rumblings in the NA scene, and as you guys may have noticed, if you guys do follow some of the NA pros and the NA semi-pros, there's a few players who put out a lot of twit-longers today to either say they're quitting going to Valorant, or the reason why the CSGO scene in NA is so bad. And, I was thinking, why don't the NA orgs take chances on these teams? And why, are people, not focused on the, going pro, basically, in the NA scene? Because that's the biggest issue I had, because I'm going, NA have enough players to have their own mini EU scene, because EU have a similar thing where they have a whole bunch of tier 2 and tier 3 tournaments for those teams to play. And in America, the thing is only E-Fire and Winners League, and that's it. Is that am I right? It's just Winners League and E-Fire as the only leagues in America, but I'm very sure that those are the only leagues, and E-Fire is the only one that gets any HLTV slot. Actually, sorry, there's Mythic League as well. There's Mythic League in America, just with Face It, but there's very few, what do you call, very few leagues or tournaments that can really, satisfy an investment from a tier 2 or tier 3 org. But let's just get into the first thing. The first thing that was just recently announced, guys, is going to be the DreamHack prize pool, guys. So let's talk about that. Basically, I don't have ad block, by the way, just in case you guys are wondering. I'm a new, I just CVA downloading it, but they've announced the regional. Finally announced the regional DreamHack Opens. I was thinking, going, okay, you got the DreamHack Masters announced. So what's going to happen to the DreamHack Opens? Because they cancelled 4 Opens, by the way. They cancelled one in Hyderabad. They cancelled in Montreal. They cancelled a lot of Opens. And also Valencia as well. I've completely forgot Valencia. So as we see here, they've done an Open. And since they have an open spot as well in Australia that you could have taken with winning the ANZ series, they've had to put one in Australia as well. So it's going to be, basically Australia, America, Europe, and Asia. And I think it's going to be the exact same thing as the DreamHack structure of the Masters. How it's just, the AU region, the Asia region. Thank you for the follow, that got aim. And all that stuff as well. It's going to be the same format. I think that's what DreamHack's going to evolve into the end. And basically, it's going to be moved to an online setting. And basically every region have stage 1 and stage 2. And I'm going to stay here. There's a stage 2 prize, a stage 1. Florin did tweet about this, just in case you guys are wondering. I do kind of agree with him as well. I used to play CSGO, but Parkers makes it hard to aim. Or I could imagine higher. But I'm going to agree with Florin, because the DreamHack Open usually has a 50k prize pool for winning. And so here's the stages. How tragic? Yeah. But, at the end of the day, they kind of have to do that because they've got no real choice, DreamHack, but they're still putting on tournaments. And as you see here, you got the prize pools here. They got the Asia and Oceania prize pool. Of course, Oceania is going to be half, same with Asia. Because basically, to be honest, the CSGO in Asia and Oceania is just a bit below Europe and North America. And that's the new DreamHack, setup for DreamHack Open. So I'm not sure, for Australia but specifically as well, and Asia, with Europe and North America, what sort of teams are going to be invited and put in there. But I'm not sure what sort of teams that Australia and Asia are going to put into there. Are they going to put their teams that are also in DreamHack Masters into DreamHack Open? That's one thing. It's one discussion that people have got to have. It's so we're going to see Renegades, Order, and Avant in DreamHack. I think Avant is in DreamHack Masters. And we're going to see them again in Open. And I'm like, that both, it just seems pretty strange that both, in the Asian and Oceania regions, the same regions, the same teams can be playing both Open and Masters. So, looking at 57 shouldn't be playing video games, but it keeps me occupied. Well, pretty much don't play any FPSs, that's all I'm going to say, because it's a long way, long way. It's pretty hard to win FPSs as well. But, I've got to say, that's only one thing I've got really a question for is, what are they going to do for the AU and Asia scenes? Because the AU and Asia scenes could be the exact same playoff as it was in Masters, but for slightly less money. But we'll see what will happen. Given that Ground Zero also picked up Leaky as well, and, we'll see if Ground Zero can be that fabled team that can take down Order or Van. But anyways, to go to the next news, that wasn't really big news, but this one is probably even bigger. and probably kind of expected with the ESL Grand Slam that is being put on hold. Only team who's won it so far was Team Liquid, and a few teams did have a few chances at it as well, but it's kind of understandable that this one's put on hold as the LAN circuit has been disrupted. And I think what Intel's going to do is they're going to use this money and put it into the prize pools of other tournaments that are online. So if you guys don't know what the Grand Slam is, the Grand Slam is if you win 5 out of 10 or something like that, ESL tournaments, you get an extra $1 million, basically. That's what the reward was. And basically, Team Liquid's been the only team that's been able to do that. And that was when Astralis was going to all these blast tournaments, basically. Win 6 events rules too harsh? Nah, I think what it is just trying to make sure that, you're always going into there to win, not to participate, basically. It was win 4 before, and now it's win 6. Yeah, it really just entices them to participate, but at the same time, I do get the point that you're trying to make soft exclusivity as well to the tournament. But, if you're really dedicated to the CSGO scene, you'll just play anywhere, any place, anytime. Thank you for the follow higher as well. So now, let's go down, basically, once ESL goes back to a LAN setting, Cologne being moved to 21st to 30th. And as you can see here, basically, you got the chances left. You got Liquid, 4 chances remaining. You got Evil Geniuses 5, Fnatic, Astralis, Mouse, and Navi. And I'm going to say this here, guys. This is going to be pretty difficult for any of these teams to complete a Fire Slam. Astralis did it? When did Astralis do it then? I thought Astralis hadn't done it. So I thought Astralis were going to do it, but they would just fend it off at the end. I know Liquid have done it. I'm trying to think when Astralis did it. They won it first season. Okay, that would be the thing. They would have won it first season. Yeah, Liquid won second. Okay, yeah. Liquid though was pretty good actually. Liquid was really good. As I open my Pepsi, 2 seconds, guys, because I need some caffeine. Because I should remember that. Oh yeah, it says here Astralis won the first Grand Slam. Jesus Christ, man! I should just read the fucking article, eh? But yeah, Liquid won it in 63 days, which is kind of amazing. Oh yeah, that's right. Astralis won it the last chance. That's right, the last chance. But yeah, that's the Grand Slam's been put on hold. And we get into new news, which is going to be interesting, which has evolved a lot of memes, okay? Is Astralis signing Yugi, okay? For me, I have no clue why Astralis signed up Yugi, okay? No clue, okay? I'm not sure what they saw in Yugi, but Yugi's gone on a downward trend ever since he left North, okay? And even in North, he's on a downward trend. He was not playing very well. Like, he was down in form. But then again, I remember the time when I was scorning Heretics for picking up XMS. And now XMS is a pretty decent player in Heretics. So, I'm not going to be too harsh. But I'm just going to ask Astralis, like, what's up? Like, what do you see in Yugi? Tell us what you see in Yugi. Because, considering, when he was playing for North, he was one of the guys that was dragging them down. He was just free, so it's just in case he gets good. Yeah, you could do that as well. It's like, when the EPL teams, pick off, a star striker, say from Southampton being relegated. They're like, okay, just in case the striker's good. He showed some promise, just in case he's good. And I'm not sure if, the memes that have come out of this, because people thinking that Astralis were targeting KJB, because KJB was sick with North during that time, because he had an illness, and people were thinking, okay, he's going to join Astralis now, tips and nose, But, it turns out he didn't join Astralis, and they picked up Yugi, which is interesting, because now Astralis got 7 players, and Astralis seems to be copying the AGO method, where AGO, they've got 7 players too. And I'm not sure how this is going to evolve with the rosters and stuff like that. Long-term investment, I guess. Yes, a very long-term investment. Because I think Yugi's actually, Yugi's like 23, isn't he? Yeah, he is. And, yeah, KJB's on hold for now. North loaned a replacement. Yeah, because, he's sick. With the Adderall epidemic in esports, especially CSGO, I haven't seen any Adderall epidemic at all in CSGO. But I wouldn't be surprised if people were, doing things to get ahead in athletics as long as it's completely legal. But there hasn't been any, big proof with the Adderall thing, because there's just been one guy, which is mainly Semphis, by the way, who's been saying that Adderall is literally everywhere and everyone uses Adderall, non-stop. And there's been no actual concrete proof yet about it. No concrete proof yet. So, basically, is when I see some concrete proof on the table, ready to go, we can go forward with it. Now, basically, Yugi. So now, basically, this is what it looks like. And they've got S-Tag as well as a backup. Which, yeah, I'm just not terribly too sure what Astralis are going with this 7-man roster. Just an article a while ago must be fake. Well, I know it's not doesn't mean it's fake. It doesn't mean the proof is not there. That's what I mean. Like, I haven't seen anything concrete. Doesn't mean it's false. Okay, it doesn't mean it's false. It could be there, but I don't know. I don't know. It is I haven't seen anything about it. You could easily get away with it online. You could, because you can take it at home. No one could see it. People have been saying it's rampant on the land scene. Now Yugi, his form slumped in Optic and his form slumped in North. And we'll see if Astralis will give him his big break that he really, really needs. He'll have a good team around him as well. And we'll see if, it's just maybe North and Optic really holding him down. He did show signs of brilliance in North and Optic, but then afterwards he just petered out, which, wasn't exactly the most ideal. And I'm just actually surprised that he was picked up by Astralis out of all teams. Like, you expect him picked up by maybe the Copenhagen Flames or Team Singularity. One of the Danish teams that, probably advanced or lower MDL. But by a number one Danish team? Dude, Yugi must have just went yes. He just didn't care about the salary. He just want to put, big, epic yes and, signed it off right away. Now, the thing I want to get into is there's 7 roster teams. What do you guys think about that? Like, I'm not sure about how the 7 roster teams are going to go, pretty much, Not too much of a fan with it, because AG are only doing it because some of the players have to study so they can have players stand in. But I'm not sure what Stras are trying to work with the 17 roster. Like, when you go onto the battlefield, into the CSGO, you've got 5 players that you got to work tactics around. Can you imagine working, tactics around 7 players instead of 5? And also, like, who can fill in, like, S-Tags roles or Yugi roles and stuff like that? Who are they going to fill their boots for? Like, I'm not sure if this is going to work out for Astralis, to be completely honest. Maybe they're hoping to switch players around if they're in a slump. Maybe, that's what AGO did. Like, AGO switched the best player, obviously, MHL. They switched him out because he had studies to do, and they put in I'm trying to think who they put in, but they put in someone else to replace him for a bit, and then he came back in within a week. And I'm not terribly too sure how this 7-man roster is going to work out. I'm not sure if it's going to catch on at all. Also, depending on opponent, they can change the players to adapt the strategy, but I don't agree with that because, like, if you're going to change players, then you change your core, your team dynamic. You actually hurt yourself by changing your team, as long as the teams all practice with each other, and they're going to have to scrim a lot to make this one work. Alright. I'm not terribly too sure on how this will work, because I just think it's more of a can be more of an issue if the teammates don't get along with each other either. Like, it's just adding potentially more fuel to the fire. If they get 10 players who can scrim each other, then they might as well make an academy team, to be honest. Like, you might as well make an academy team at that point. Like, when they get to the 10 players. And maybe Astralis is doing that. Maybe Astralis is doing that on the side. They're just recruiting players in the Danish scene that, out of contract one by one. And they'll put, Astralis Academy. Because, ESL and Valve, or mainly Valve, did state that they want the Academy teams to come back, They want them to have a big comeback. They don't care if there's dual ownership in the, in between the orgs, in between the tournaments, which, poor ESL, was just left standing there. And, they had to answer it themselves. And I like how people piled onto ESL about that one, about the major and what Valve said. It's like, it's not even ESL's fault. Like, ESL's just hired to run the tournament. And of course, Reddit. I'm going to say, Reddit was like, ESL should know better. ESL should do more. It's like, who runs the majors, right? Not ESL. Thank you for the sub, K-Star. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Twitch Prime sub. Why did I say Twitch Twime? Jeez. Twitch Prime sub. Thank you, K-Star. Hope you enjoyed the emotes. And yeah, we're talking about the 7th man on the roster. I'm not terribly too sure it'll work out, but if they're making an academy team, they're doing a very good job at keeping it under wraps. And there's been a meme going around as well, guys. Like, there's been a massive meme going around that, eventually every team will be Astralis. Like, it'll be Astralis Academy, Astralis Junior. And that was the meme. Like, they got rid of all the names for, like, Mad Lions. They got rid of the name of, Heroic. And they put, like, Astralis Academy. Astralis this. Astralis that. Someone said Astralis were going to make them 2 teams. Yeah. Like, there was been rumors of that as well. I think they could make an academy team out of that. And get them to scrim against each other as well. Yeah. fight to the death for the 5 spots. You know, have like Device against Yugi. You know, AWP spot, who's gonna win? It's gonna be like a 1v1 on AWP map. Dude, that would be the day. That would be actually quite lit, you know? You get to see Astralis at their own tournaments. Who will play in the Astralis 5? That means I have a chance. Yeah, you do. It's gonna get picked up by Astralis, okay? Anyways, next up. Next story is going to be... Okay, that was not the section I want to be here, by the way. Okay, if you guys don't know, this has been the scene, okay? So basically, all of E United besides Marquee have quit CSGO and gone to Valorant. Food's been picked up by Tier 1, and Freakazoid and Zelsus are going over to Valorant, okay? So the NA scene, like, they've lost a lot of known players to Valorant. And there's been a lot of complaints, even in August. I think I talked about this last week, okay? The swap situation sucks so hard, not enough orgs. Dude, it's not enough orgs. Like, Zelsus put it cleanly. He said, the NA orgs, the tier 2 orgs, don't want to invest in CSGO teams. And this has been a big thing, okay? Like, this is a big topic. And I'm like sitting there going like, well, there's a few of them making it go. Like, Thunder Logic still play their players. You know, there's Polar Ace. There's a few teams in NA. And then you see the notable teams that are NA teams, you know, NA orgs. And they don't have a single team in NA. Ignoring Renegades, of course. You know, ignoring Renegades because they're an NA org. And you see there's like not enough org. Like, there's a lot of, you know, teams in NA. Like, you know, NA orgs that could, you know, basically put a team together. Like TSM, for example. But TSM, you know, they haven't come back yet. And Counter Logic, CLG, not there. What about Misfits? Not there. And I'm going to agree with K-Star when he makes this point from the org standpoint. Because we're going to actually talk about that as well. Because he's going to say... He probably saw the tweet from Curry today. Because that's a very good tweet to watch. Investing in a game from betas bit something's done to me. It does. Like, there's a lot of people that, you know, are really putting all into it. But at the same time, like, DS got aim. I think they're doing this for a short-term thing, okay? Like, it's going to be, if they muck it up, it's a short-term. They got a bit of bob. They paid their bills, and then they can go back to whatever they want, okay? It isn't they're going to stay there forever, okay? If you saw the Chaos and Leaf situation, that's a really good look at. To look at. Yeah, Leaf was an example, yeah. Leaf got offered to join C9 Valorant, was on trial. What happened? What else happened? I didn't hear that rumor. But, you know, we'll talk about that as well. Like, you know, Leaf got offered to sign with Cloud9 Valorant and took the Valorant offer. Yeah, I saw that. And now John G is with Chaos as well. And, like, it's just a short-term way to get a bit of bob to pay your bills. Like, a lot of people go, like, how dare you turn on the CSGO scene? Like, these CSGO players, they've got bills to pay, okay? They've got bills to pay. Like, Fugly even said it himself. Like, do you remember back in the day when Fugly got kicked out of Envy because Envy wanted him to move? And Fugly's like, dude, I've got a mortgage and a mortgage to pay. And if I move down there and rent out an apartment, I've got two sets of bills. You know, you need to be able to pay me more to cover it because I'm not going to pay for my house in Arizona because I want to live there. And then, you know, be forced to move to, I think it was Colorado, where Envy is. But that's the same situation where, you know, Fugly had to make a choice because he needs to pay his bills. I think he was working full-time as well, maybe. I'm not sure. But that's the thing he came up with. And that's what a lot of these players in the CSGO scene have come up with, okay? Envy's in Dallas. Sorry, Dallas. My bad. Wrong state. I got Colorado in my head for some reason. Not sure why I got Colorado, but, you know, either way, it was a different place that he had moved to. He moved from Arizona to Texas. And, g'day, Nubage. And, like, he didn't, you know, he was very, very hard. Got bills paid. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what he said. What Discord said. And that's why they're doing it. Because, you know, Zelsus, you know, he's getting no money from being in his team at the moment. He's not getting paid a salary from Soul Patrol, okay? And, you know, there's probably people out there maybe paying a bit of money, like, you know, any org, like Cloud9, for example, paying, you know, some money to Leaf, for example. And you might as well just go for the money and try to get those bills paid. Like, a lot of people go, oh, you're just greedy by getting the offer for more money. It's no, they want to have, you know, money so they can pay off their house. They can put a deposit on the house that they want or unit. Or they can, you know, get bills to pay, basically, you know, put food in their mouths. They can't literally live off their own savings, especially in this shit environment where, well, I shouldn't say shit, but the COVID-19 environment where there's not many jobs at the moment because most places are shut down. So you're just going to take whatever you're going to get at this point, you know? I'm not sure how I'm getting subs here because I've actually had more subs in this period than I've had, I think it's double, by the way, than I've had in any other period. But this is what I'm talking about, is that, when you got the opportunity, you might as well take it. Because it's like, what you got to lose? Like, what if Valorant goes bad? Okay, I can go back to CSGO. I can always fit into a team. They'd always know how good I am. They're not going to go, we're not going to pick up Zelsus because he abandoned us in our time of need. He can go burn. They're not going to say that. Like, realistically, let's just say Zelsus, let's say under 21, Zelsus like, oh, dude, can I join? Under 21's go like, yeah, get in. We need an RGL. Let's go. They're not going to tell Zelsus to go jump. You get what I mean? Like, when these teams into IGL, they're going to bring him in if Valorant doesn't work out. Of course you don't know, but if Valorant works out, they've got their org, they're getting paid money. And then, of course, like, with Overwatch, it's the same thing's going to happen with Overwatch, because a lot of CSGO pros moved to Overwatch, and then, obviously, they didn't make it, because, same habits and stuff like that. Sometimes it's more mental issues rather than actual aim, and they came back to CSGO. It could happen as well, maybe Zelsus, he gets there for one of the years, he's just like, oh, Zelsus gets replaced, gets benched, and he's like, okay, I'll just go back to CSGO. And, that's where I'll be, because I feel like CSGO is a better option. That those are all the proper scenarios that could happen, for these guys. So, sorry, I know I use Zelsus as a fucking example so many times, but, Zelsus is just the first one to pop in the head, even though I've got Freakazoid right here. And basically all of the E United players line up with Zelsus as well, have quit for Valorant other than Cooper. And big loss for NA scene, and this is going to make it even worse, okay? So, obviously, you guys heard from Dazzle being one of the only people in the CSGO scene, other than Jonji, who left to Chaos. Well, Bad News Bears disbands as well, and this is another one, okay? Like, these are, like, top tier American orgs fucking disbanding, okay? Like, it's not orgs, sorry, teams. And, yeah, the three highest all disbanded, exactly. And it's just like, what is going on with NA scene? Like, this was, like, pretty much a free pickings for Valorant. Like, this is what I'm going to get, like, pretty, shifty on, okay? That's what I'm going to say, is how come teams like E United, I'm going to say, even though E United did, like, just messed up, like, there's, like, Misfits, there's, like, CLG, there's, like, so many NA orgs, like, not even kidding, that could invest in CSGO, but won't. Like, why is that? That's the thing, why is that? Why are all these top NA orgs, TSM as well, not investing in the CSGO scene? Like, we gotta figure that one out. Because there's something wrong here, because in EU, there's bloody, like, organizations popping up like weeds and rabbits. They're coming out of nowhere in EU for the CSGO scene. It's all, really, really cultured. One of the guys in HLTV suggested maybe it's because of all the gambling leagues, bettors and stuff like that. The betting agency is sponsoring tournaments, maybe it's because of that. Because NA have very strict betting laws, just in case you guys don't know, aren't aware. They're less strict than Australia's, but they're, worse. But, that's the interesting question. Why are these NA orgs not wanting to invest into a CSGO team? Now, I got one example. Someone said they want a developed roster, and that was from one of the players in, I think it was Bad News Bears, okay? One of the Bad News Bears players said that, it was mainly they wanted an established roster rather than, building the team all together. And I'm going to say this now. There's some TSM was good at today's Australia sign-up. But there was one thing I'm going to talk about. It's like, with, it fell out of my mouth. I don't know which team I was talking about. Because sports shut down Vegas legalized gambling for CSGO. Yeah, that's what I meant, Noobage. But before, like, why are these top orgs investing in it? Like, I could imagine CLG coming back. I know Dignitas picked up, basically NIP. Old NIP plus Hallsec. And it's just curious on why these NA orgs, instead of developing a roster, why are they trying to go after established rosters? Like, for example, E United came in. Maybe it's just a money thing. Yeah, it probably is a money thing. But are they going to find it in Valorant? Like, this is another thing as well. Cool. Yeah, I can see that. So you're going to talk about that before, and I want to discuss that as well. Is that, CSGO is another one where tournament organizers have big issues with paying out, and trust me, I've had it as a caster, even though it was my fault, but I've heard stories from other casters, other casters who have the same issue, okay? have the exact same issue where they don't get paid until like 3 to 4 months down the track. And yeah, we're not terribly too sure, but the NA scene is getting hit quite hard. And there's been a lot of issues, okay? A lot of issues being hung up here. And also, of course, the Bad News Bears going down. Basically, you know, they played incredibly well. Leaf, he went to Chaos, and Leaf, you know, went to Valorant. And then Crashies, he went down to Valorant as well. I think Crashies got subbed by T1. Basically, Bad News Bears, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it's Dazzle, and I think Dapper is, he's gone to Valorant as well. I think it's Dazzle and Jonji are the only ones that stayed in CSGO. Brax is on Tier 1. Oh, yeah, I'm aware of that. I think I talked about that last time, that Brax is in Tier 1. And, like, you know, they played very, very well. Like, that's the roster, you know, Dazzle, Dapper, Mitch, Jonji, PTR. You know, we're not sure where these guys are going to go. And, that's pretty much it. I know PTR and Mitch don't know where they're going to go. Daz is going to play CSGO. Dapper's to Valorant. And, you know, just what is going on. So we're going to go to find out what is going on here. So basically, if it's not obvious enough, since Bad News Bears disbanded, they lost their DreamHack master spot to Chaos. Funnily enough, Jonji will be the only player in that team to, you know, who have actually qualified it in 2 teams now. And basically Leaf is left as well for Jonji. And I think that's probably an even Stevens trade. And as you see now, basically Chaos replaced Bad News Bears in Group A. And basically I think that is kind of the group of death. So I'm not sure if that's really a blessing for whoever's in there. Maybe they'll go play Dota 2. Maybe they will Bad News Bears in Dota 2 in the international. Like they win the international, you know. They don't go play Valorant, they play Dota 2 and win the international and go back to playing CSGO. But yeah, there's the group of death for Chaos. But now we're going to talk about a few more things, okay? Because we've got a twit longer here from Curry. So Curry's one of the players in Triumph. So Triumph's one of the NA orgs that have invested into it. I'm going to say I know the Triumph guys pretty well. Because I casted like 4 of their games when they were doing the minor. And they were really good to be with. In fact, after I casted their game, I even talked to them on Discord. So, you know, Curry's one of the players in Triumph team. So I came across this because one of the NA guys, you know, retweeted it, okay? So this is why they're talking about this, because this is a very good insight from a player into the Tier 2 and Tier 3 leagues, okay? So let's get it divided into 2 sections, okay? FPL's in its worst state it hasn't ever been since Survivor. You know, you guys can read through this, actually. You guys can read through this, okay? You know, because I read through this, like, multiple times. So basically, teams, you know, in the American region, don't even play fucking FPL. Like, in Europe, Simple plays FPL. Like, Simple plays with random people and stuff like that. Here? No, NA, they don't. And they only do it when they're streaming. They only play when they're streaming, and that's it. And, yeah, like Gen G, EG don't even queue it. And it's because, face it, apparently allow players who have no reason to go pro to stay in the league. And this is the funny thing. Australia even has that enforcement body that if you're not in a pro team and you don't play for a certain amount of time, you get kicked out. Like it happened to, you know, you guys know Pears from Ground Zero? He got kicked out of the Face It League because he was inactive. If you guys didn't know that. There was a bit of drama on the CSGO Twitter about it. And now, you know, Pears is back in, of course, because he's on Ground Zero. Like, you know, it was quickly resolved. Because that's why he was kicked initially, Pears, because he was inactive on FPL. And then when he got back into a pro team, he got back into FPL. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to say that, you know, basically they have no, you know, no doesn't have going pro with a team to play on a hub on a consistent basis. So what he's referring to, if you guys don't know what hubs are, like there's certain Face-It hubs that if you get to a certain rank, you win some money or some skins, basically. Okay? So in America, if you win FPL, let's just say you get $1,000 for winning FPL. So if you get the highest ranking, okay? So that's what Curry's talking about. Okay, so that's what he's doing. Do you watch Behind the Numbers? Oh, no, I did not. But, you know, it basically knew it's going to be the exact same thing because this is the fucking issues, okay? Like, these are the issues. Like, this is the issue affecting CSGO because the NA scene is just getting absolutely sliced up at the moment. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, grievances that haven't been heard. And I think this is probably one of the better twitlongers about it, you know, from Curry. Very, very good twitlonger. And he, by the way, if you want to know, Curry used to be an under 21 as well, okay? Now he's joined Triumph, of course. So as you see here. So basically, you know, he's just saying you need to remove the players that have been reported many times, who have no desire to be pro, and just doing anything like this. He must have talked to us for 30 minutes last night. Yeah, definitely. Like, I can tell you now, Nubich, this is a big fucking story. Like, so basically, FPL isn't dying, and this is the worst part, okay? They've got players in here. Yeah, EU FPL has 4.5k USD for the winner currently. And, like, everyone from the pros play. Like, you had, Simple was playing with Aiken, from Demolition Crew. Because, I heard the drama when Simple got pissed off at Aiken, okay? When Aiken did throw the Molotov for his teammate, and Simple's like, dude, you gotta do for your team, you gotta work for your team. Simple went off at him, okay? For not working for his team. And I think that's probably a good learning lesson there for Aiken, because Aiken's a young AWPer in Demolition Crew. Be told by Simple, like, dude, man, it's a team effort. This is a team game. You can't be going on by yourself, I think you guys would have watched that clip because, they posted everywhere on Reddit that Simple tilts uncontrollably. I'm like, oh, no, he's got a good reason. He's trying to teach the player something, He's trying to teach Aiken, I think Aiken's 17, 16. He's pretty young. He's a young AWPer for Demolition Crew. But anyway, so you see here, we talk about EU. Now let's talk about NA, okay? If the MLs are scared of FPL dumping after these players are removed, since the players are in half the current games, you can invite players from the top NA teams such as Triumph. And this is what I'm shocked about. What the hell was Triumph not in the goddamn FPL for? Triumph made ESL Pro League almost. They were third in season 33. They were going to qualify for ESL Pro League relegation. How are they not in FPL? Aiken's 25 though? I thought Aiken was young. Oh, Aiken isn't young. Well, bad luck, but Aiken's 25. Simple went off at him. But anyway, don't worry about that. How is Triumph not in it? This is what I'm surprised about. How is Triumph not in FPL? So it's come on, guys. Invite Triumph. Recon 5. Yes, invite those guys. You got awesome guys in there. You got Carson. You got Jazz Pimp. These guys, they play hard. And I think you got Carson, Jazz Pimp. I'm trying to figure out their third, because I know Austin and Odorous are gone. You still got Austin as well, actually. You got Junior, but I think Junior left as well. I think they've changed their team quite a bit, Recon 5. But, Recon 5 got some very, very good players there. And they're not in. And neither the New England Whalers. What's up? How come the NA MDL teams aren't in FPL? The difference between these players and the current bottom FPL players is that these players want to go pro in the game. Yep. Face it isn't the only company that's guilty of this, as his rank S is literally in a worse state than FPL. Rank S consists of MDL and advanced players, most are teamless, that are competing at the highest rank on ESJ every Friday for $1,000. 2 years ago, we would see professional players competing every day for this type of money, but instead, the admins have let the hub go to shit. I don't know if these companies even care for the state of the NA scene, especially at times when the 2-2 NA scene really, really needs it. Yeah, exactly, Adam. They played really well to get the ESL spot. I remember casting their playoff games because I did cast their playoff games, right? Yeah, I did cast a few of Triumph's MDL NA playoff games, and they really deserved that spot. And they got it wasn't in ESL Pro League, but they got third spot in relegation before they did the old shuffle in the ESL Pro League, and Triumph got dumped back down to the MDL. And dude, I was talking to forget his name. I think it's Chase from Triumph, and he was not happy. He wasn't happy. He was he wasn't happy when their team got shafted to the ESL Pro League. You can imagine that. You make a lower bracket run. Because if you guys don't know, in that season, Triumph got dumped to the lower bracket in the first round, and they made a lower bracket run to get that third spot for the ESL Pro League relegation spot. And have that happen to you, tilt. Absolute tilt. But anyways, so yeah, seriously, it does need it. He's not kidding. You just had your three best teams just disband and move to Valorant. ESA and Face It, lift your game. If this is the case, if one of your players in Triumph going off and he's telling you what's actually happening to your leagues, probably should listen, okay? Now moving on to the current and past season MDLs. Recently there's been an increase in pug teams in the Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 NA scene. The players on these teams typically grind these hubs, FPL, FPC, yep, for the money while completing online tournaments such as MDLs, Winners League, and whatever. For money, yeah. That all people bringing out are now washed up 3-2 players that have no chance to make a CSGO. Basically says Simple Ty would move. That's a need to worry, but none of these level players. Yeah, I'm not going to say, for the Tier 1, I'm not going to worry about it. It's just these tier 2 players, they're moving over, but it's an issue in the tier 2 scene. Like, if you want to grow CS, like, it's not an issue now, but it might be an issue in the 5 to 6 years if you don't have those tier 2 players there. And that's what I'm going to put the issue, is that part, okay? But at the same time, you can be like, they're just tier 2 players. You can just get, tier 3 player, get them out the table down here, be like, oh, we got another one. Here we go. Let's go. Let's bring them up. That could be that as well. But, at least, Curry's highlighting some things that are big issues in the scene at the moment for the tier 2 American scene. So basically, the teams grind it. They grind all the other areas just for money. Don't blame them. Like, seriously, you need money. Go for it. And basically, they compete on all the online leagues. MDL, Winners League, Mythic League, and E-Fire. I'll do that too, actually. And the one of the reasons why has seen a surge in pub teams. The players that continuously play these subs every day to steal away top prizes, well, if they're actually winning it, they're not really stealing away, are they? These players that grind these hubs typically tend to be on not competitive teams, hence they have more time to win these prizes. However, the prizes in these hubs actually have more money than MDL has on move-up seasons. That's an issue. What's the problem with... Oh yeah, Overwatch. If we're going to talk about Overwatch, we're not talking about Overwatch yet, but Overwatch is like, they have no tier 2 teams to begin with. But I'm going to highlight that part. How does a hub have more prize money than the MDL? Jeez, no wonder why these teams are, maybe not taking the MDL seriously. Why should they if they can get more money just grinding up a hub? So the teams that have a slim chance of making Pro League one season, they might decide not to practice anymore and start grinding these hubs. Sometimes it might not even be the player's fault because they aren't winning enough money with their team. So, this is like, Curry highlights it, okay? Like, highlights it big time. They don't have enough money to pay the bills. Compared to EU, the cost of living in the United States and Canada is much higher than the EU, which is why the EU don't struggle with this problem nearly as much. And also going to say to him about this one is that the EU have way more fucking tournaments than NA. A possible solution is to encourage teams to practice would be to invest a lot of money in these tier 2 to 3 leagues, so players will make more from competing with a team rather than solely queuing a pug. The sad reality of CSGO is that companies like FaZe and ESA couldn't care less. He's got to put a space there, Curry. Couldn't care less about the state of the scene, but as long as people still want to grind for FPL and rank S, they still farming money from their users and making profit. TDL, obviously, this is the obvious one. Everything is shit in the CSGO scene for FPL and rank S, okay? And, organizations aren't really to invest money because everyone's basically a pug team and not taking it seriously. Maybe Valorant is more fun to play, something different between CSGO and Valorant, but I don't think there's still a chance for a pro circuit of Valorant. CSGO will be the top still. No, there will be, okay? If they've already got tier 1 and a few top tier teams interested in already, there will be like an LCS set up for Valorant, okay? This is what they do, okay? This is what Riot do, okay? Riot, very, very smart. They let the community leagues come in and build up their fan base, and then they come in and be like, no tournaments, we run them all, see you later, guys. Goodbye, ESL, goodbye, whatever Dick and Harry tier you are. Right now, run all the tournament scene. That's what happens. That's what happened with League of Legends. They had a bunch of community scenes, and then bang, Riot took over everything, and Riot said, no, you guys can't, you don't have the license anymore. It's just us. And this is the issue. Basically, this becomes an issue if you're a talent as well. Is that you have to be good with Riot, okay? Like, if you're not good with Riot, you are not getting a job as a caster on the Riot scene, okay? It was you or Richard Lewis. I was saying me being careful of Riot as a talent, okay? It's not because Riot is bad. It's because if you're not good with Riot, like if Riot, Riot will just bring in their own guys as well. You're not going to get a caster slot. Like, with CSGO, it's a bit easy to get a caster slot because there's so many tournaments and stuff like that. And the thing, League of Legends NA scene is pretty fucked in Tier 2 as well. There's actually very little attention being paid to the Tier 2 scene in a lot of places because of these buy-in leagues. Like, in Overwatch, for example, that's one of them, where the Tier 2 scene is practically dead. And similar with League of Legends as well. And I think might be more of a problem than CSGO. Like, maybe Curry's just only hitting the CSGO mark. That could be a worse problem. But anyways, going to go to the last point. Oh, no, that isn't the last point yet, sorry. That is the NA scene being discussed. Like, maybe it might be a game point of view point where they will support the top teams, but they won't support the second tier teams. If you're against China, you won't get hired either yet because of Tencent. That's the reason why you won't get hired. And that's probably why, like, Foreign will never get a job there. Europe has a dozen of national leagues for tier 2, and NA has none of academy league for top team. Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow. That is pretty bad, actually. Maybe it might be an NA problem. Just an NA problem. Anyways, guys, we'll get to the tournaments while we're here. And, we'll discuss about that later, but that's a big discussing point. It's like, is the NA tier 2 scene dying? Ferron says pretty big into LoL. Yeah, I know, but what I'm meaning is he's got to be very, very careful of himself. But I think it's because Foreign, he knows at this point that, it's going to be very, very hard to replace him. And then again, they did kick out Monty as well. But I think it might be a problem in the NA scene. That's what I'm going to say. Now we're going to get to the Na'Vi getting knocked out in Rio. And I've got to say, this is probably the most closest division, okay, in the road to Rio. Because I'll show you guys in Group A, if it's going down here. Yeah, see, it's the most closest division, just in case you guys are wondering. 3 teams had 9 points, and 3 teams had 6 points, and Na'Vi got knocked out, okay? Like, look at that. How close of a division do you have to get where, like, if you won one game, you would have been promoted, okay? And Na'Vi got knocked out by... I'm trying to think who Na'Vi got knocked out by. But they got knocked out by Hard Legion, that's right. And that's not a good look. Not a good look at all, given that Hard Legion shouldn't even be on Na'Vi's level. And Na'Vi, well, they won a tournament, and now, they're really hurling back down to earth. Now, the other one in the AUCS news, if you guys didn't hear, if you guys don't know, the Chiefs announced this today, is that this is an AUC Jinx Maker and Skull Hunter leaving Chiefs. And Chiefs, well, I know Jinx is retiring. Jinx announced that he retired today as well. And I'm not sure where Skull Hunter and Maker are going to go. Jinx said he would play CSGO with them, because they're obviously now looking for 2 players to keep, try and hold the MDL spot. But what I've been told around the grapevine, actually the big news is MIBR getting knocked out of Red of Rio. Like, MIBR not in their home country, that's a huge loss of money. Yeah, I'm actually going to talk about that as well, but a bit later. So I got something stuck here, like inside my mouth. But anyway, this is a big blow in Australia scene. But there's some rumors floating around here in the AU scene that the Chiefs are going to pick up the free players shortly, like very, very shortly. That's going to surprise everyone. I've got a lot of insider information, but I'm going to wait for the Chiefs to announce it on who the new guys are going to be. And if you guys have been paying attention to the Australian scene, specifically the Let's Play Live scene, you probably know what team that's going to be and what players are going to pick up. So just keep an eye on out that. That's who the Chiefs going to pick up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, okay. So that's going to be it so far. Next up, we're going to talk about the road to Rio. And we're going to talk about MIBR being knocked out. Okay. MIBR has more fans. Yeah, Main in Brazil always has more fans. So we're going to talk about the road to Rio. And we're going to talk about teams that have not performed well. Okay. 100 Thieves. Fuck the Australian team. You lost to Envy. Please explain. Looks like, 100 Thieves going in a very, very sharp decline at the moment. Losing to Envy in the 5th place match. I know it's online tournaments. And 100 Thieves did pretty well to get that 2nd place. They only lost it due to tiebreak. And, yeah. That did not look good at all. And another team, of course, being MIBR. MIBR couldn't get out of a group with, after beating Yeah Gaming, they were unable to get out of group. I have no idea how MIBR couldn't win out of that group. Like, another thing? How did Envy get into the finals? Envy on paper should be 4th, but somehow Envy make it through. That's a testament to how well Envy's been playing at the moment. Not a testament to how bad MIBR is, even though MIBR has been pretty bad. They've been now looking at another player, I think it's TRK, and they're just going switch and swap at the moment. They're doing what E9 used to do, is where they keep swapping out in and out players and not letting them just gel in. And they're just trying to just hope it sticks at this point. I hope they're not doing that, but it just seems like it. And well, with the NA scene, in the end, I believe Gen G took down Furia 2-1. And Furia, well, once again, they get so close. No cigar. They took down Team Liquid. And, Cloud9 winning third place, of course. And, well, August also, as well. We talked about this last week. August disbanding and Triumph going 2 and 3. But yeah, August disbanding was probably a big thing as well. And basically all the games were forfeited. Now, next one, we're going to go to Europe. Europe's not finished yet. Europe's got a few more games to go. We got Vitality playing G2 tonight. We got FaZe playing Astralis, tonight as well. And Envy with Mihu is pretty good. Yeah. Like, Mihu's probably the main player in Envy. Like, they're going really, really good because Mihu's just insane. Wait, is Mihu playing from Poland? No, I think Mihu's in America. Like, I think Mihu's in America at the moment. I don't think he's in Poland. Otherwise, can you imagine trying to play on, like, 150 MS? Especially with Mihu as well. Unless Mihu's winning duels on 150 MS. That would be pretty gnarly. So far, this is the Meme Star Riders, okay? The Meme Star Riders beat Fnatic. So you guys can see up here. 2-0. And ends beat the Copenhagen Flames. To be expected. I think Mihu played with the old VP lineup. Yeah, he did. So in the playoffs so far, FaZe Clan took down NiP. Astralis took down G2. Funnily enough, 2-0. And Astralis linked the old G2 to defuse a bomb for Astralis to win a tournament. And now it's FaZe Clan v Astralis. Now in the lower bracket, Vitality took down Godsend, Heretics took down North. That's going to be due to play today as well. And then NiP coming down from the upper bracket lost to Vitality, and G2 took down Heretics, and that's going to be played today as well. There's a lot of, BO3 is going to be played today as well. And NiP, pretty disappointing. When NiP wins the upper bracket, they go to the lower bracket probably being favoured, and then they're just basically taken out by Vitality. And you know what the funny thing is? The differences in this match is literally one round. Like, not even kidding. Like, NiP won 1 round less than Vitality in this matchup. Feels bad, man. I think he was born in Poland, so Poland internationally, but sorry, I don't speak good English. Oh, no, he's in America at the moment playing online, but he is Polish. Miku is Polish. NiP is looking really solid. Yeah, that's why it's so strange, though. Like, NiP was looking really good. Like, I'm not sure how, results aren't going their way. Like, Plopsky looks really solid as well. Like, Plopsky, I was watching him against, I think it might be Vitality. I'm not terribly too sure. It was on Vertigo. No, it was against Astralis on Vertigo. And Plopsky was just, he was just basically bossing Astralis around on Vertigo. And of course, I think NiP won Vertigo, but then Astralis won the rest of the BO3, and Astralis won 2-1. And, it's kind of a really, really underachievement for NiP. Plopsky turned 18 yesterday. Well, now he can drink. Yeah, that's right. It was Plopsky's birthday. That's right, because they were talking about it on Rez's girlfriend's stream. Okay, they're like going like, don't they just stop playing because it's Plopsky's birthday today? They're like, no, they still work, man. Oh my god. But anyways, I'm actually feel bad for NiP because it just feels like they're underachieved in the road to Rio, given how solid they've been. Like, I just feel they've underachieved. Now we're gonna go to the CIS region. So good old CIS region that started up once again, and of course we talked about earlier. It's sad because we played against Vitality. We talked about earlier Na'Vi being knocked out. Na'Vi got 2-0'd by VP out of all teams, and VP made it in as well. And this is how crazy tiebreaks are, okay? This is how crazy the tiebreaks are. Is that, Hard Legion passed through, even on a -21, purely because they beat Virtus.pro and Simon, okay? That's what I'm going to say. I think they beat Virtus.pro and Simon, I believe. Yep. Hard Legion beat Virtus.pro. I don't beat Simon. And Hard Legion beat VP, and that gets them the top spot. So Hard Legion got the top spot out of pretty much tying. They got the 2 teams that they beat, and they got the top spot. And all the teams they lost to are in the spot other than Na'Vi. What are the chances? Let's say a Sparta or Prosto won one of their games. Hard Legion would be, third because of go the map difference, and they get screwed out there. It's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting about this. Now, of Group A, I'll tell you now, it's a lot less closer, okay, in Group A, because Team Spirit went 5-0, and it's just a testament of how good of a Team Spirit is, okay? Spirit always been consistent, always good aim, and, they got through this 5-0. The big news is Forze going out in 5th place, and they're not having a good time. They might get relegated from ESL Pro League if these are results going to keep happening for Forze. They might get relegated because, when you're placing below Gambit Youngsters, Namiga, Windstrike, and Team Spirit, Windstrike is an advanced team, okay? They're an advanced. Namiga is an MDL team. Gary youngsters, I don't even play in the league at the moment. And you're not placing above these teams? That's a bit of an issue. And also, not to mention, the last time Forze and Spirit played a BO3, it's always 2-1. But, Spirit winning 2-1 against Forze, there's issues in the Forze camp at the moment. They need to solve them out pretty quickly because they were on a slump just as they started Epicenter, and they're still on a slump now. So maybe a training camp, maybe a boot camp is in order. But at the moment, they're not looking that flash. They used to be one of the CIS teams that, could be on rivaling Na'Vi. But not anymore. Not anymore, it seems. Now, we're going to talk about the ESL 1 in Australia, which Renegades won. So Renegades defeated Order, and then Chiefs and Ground Zero as 3rd and 4th. So basically what happened was, I think it was Order, during the weekend, it was Order v Chiefs. Order won 2-0. Renegades won, took down Ground Zero, just like the group matches. And I'm going to say now, Ground Zero, this is before they got the new roster of Leaky in the roster, Ground Zero looked absolutely awful. It looked like it was just basically a battle between Order, Chiefs, and Renegades. That's pretty much it. In the end, Renegades won out. And in the final, Order almost won this. Order almost won this finals against Renegades. Forze, some teams are just not good online, but maybe later they could win pretty easily. But dude, they won really well online. Like in the MDL, they won. I think they did win the MDL against Havu, and that was on LAN, of course. But they just basically breezed through the playoffs, taking down Spirit to the lower bracket and the upper bracket final. It's not like they can't win online. It's just they've not played very well, like at all since Epicenter. Like they've not played well at all, and they've been seemingly going down into more and more of a slump, and they haven't really recovered out of it. And that's really disappointing to see because, I like Flit, I like, Jerry, I like all the guys on there, I like XE Power. Like, they're very, very good talents, but it's just, horrible to see, how far they've fallen. Now, with the Oceanic scene, my scene, of course. So, Ground Zero, I've got to say, Ground Zero, Void did leave the team after the Road to Rio, and Leaky came in. And I've got to say with this, this lineup, is Ground Zero will be a lot better. But whether or not will they be competitive in these Road to Rio tournaments will be another question. So, Order took down Chiefs 2-0, a quick 2-0, and it was a close final against Renegades. Renegades won 2-1. In fact, I think it was on Inferno. Order were up 13-2, but were unable to close out the map, and Renegades took it to OT and won the second map. And then won Dust 2. And that's very, very disappointing to see for Order. They were so close yet so far. The last one, we're going to talk about the Asia scene. Basically is Pilly as per usual. Pilly, Elfish Guy, Karaf, and Mac all commentating. And MC and Hemo doing the observing. And basically in the end, I think it was Tiger took down Tyloo. Tiger having Urcast. One of the ex-Greyhound players. And, they took the win there. They took the win. I'm happy to see Urcast from Greyhound and his boys get the win here. How far have they fallen, Lemay? Let's see. MIBR, C9, VP. I'd say VP is doing a lot better. Like, VP and C9 are doing a lot better than they were previously. Like, at the moment, MIBR is in this part of the slump, where they're, like, literally at the lowest of lows they can go. Basically, VP is like this. VP have won a few games, and Cloud9's like this as well. Like, they've won a few games, and they've proven themselves as a roster as well. Same with VP. VP are doing the exact same. They've taken down some big teams. VP 2-0 Navi out of all teams, okay? So that's pretty decent. So Urcast winning that. Now we go to Blast Rising. And Blast Rising, I didn't talk about this yet last week, but Blast Rising is a Tier 2, Tier 3 tournament. It allows all these Tier 2 and Tier 3 teams to play. You got AGO, Alternate Attacks, Apex, Evers, Endpoint, Fate, Giants, the Riders, the Meme Star Riders. VP could be the one winning CIS Road to Rio. They could be. They're looking a lot sharper. Like, remember VP at Leipzig? Like, how dreadful were VP at Leipzig? Like, they were just plain awful. But they've come a long way since then. Like, they've come along since then. And I wasn't really happy that VP were playing awful as well, because I do think James is a great AWPer. I do think Kiko and Bus are a great player as well. And Sanji, he's been playing really well as well. And Adren, he's turned his form around as well. But I think VP did replace him in the end. Because I think Adrian is getting to the point where, you got to just get out of the scene, unfortunately. You got to love Jame Time, though. Like, people go, like, Jame Time, why is he saving New York? But I think Jame, is probably one of the teams. Like, James is one of the guys who understand how valuable that weapon is, okay? Like, one reason why I say an AWP is very valuable, look what Shiro did to... Who was it again? I think Shiro did it to Heretics. Basically, Shiro... It was a T-site, T-round. Heretics had all the weapons. Basically, Shiro saved the AWP, from Heretics chasing after him on the T-side round. And basically, Gigantic Youngsters were reset. They only had Glocks. And basically what happened was Shiro got an ace on overpass with that hero AWP. Killed all 5 players. And he just basically used his players who had Glocks to charge in there. They go down. Shiro peeks out, pops the player. And basically it was just 1-for-1 trades by Shiro. And Shiro winning the round of the AWP. And I just think, Jame really highlights that the AWP is incredibly valuable. See what Shiro did. Shiro's a very, very good AWPer. And I think Jame really highlights that and understands that how valuable a weapon the AWP is. Because the AWP can always be the angle where they can hold an angle. And, if you nail a shot, the person's dead. But anyway, they got these lower teams here. And I do enjoy like Nordovan, Salamander, Team Secret, Flatroo again. Like, I do like Flatroo. Like, Flatroo is a player we'll be seeing tonight, actually, in the Team Secret. Like, in Advanced. Like, I do want to see these guys playing. They've actually picked up Roland, by the way. Just in case you guys are wondering. Picked up Roland and Tudson's being benched. And that's a big pickup for the Team Secret. I've got to say, I do enjoy Team Secret because this is the funny thing. Because I never saw that they picked up Percy as well. And I'm sitting there going, I was like talking to a Team Secret fan because I casted their game, I think it was 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, what the hell was Percy doing in it? And he's like, oh, they took over Magnitude spot. And we're like, are they keeping Percy? And it's like, yeah, Percy's the IGL. I'm like, how do the Danish teams and the Eastern Europe team, the Kosovo teams, how do they meet up? It's like the Turkish, the Belgian, and French players. It's just like, how do they get together? Like you just don't picture these countries like having a team together. You just don't see it, and that's the weird thing that I've had here. It's like I just don't understand. Like I just don't understand. Like just how did these guys come together? But anyways, it's going pretty well so far. As you see here, it's getting to the playoff stages. Endpoint alternate attacks, making it 3 on 5-1. They played each other twice. Nordovan and Harvu expected to make it. Actually, big surprise is AGO. AGO going 1 and 5. Now, Japolino and Fate, Meme Star Riders, everyone on 4 and 2, and Apex went 0 and 6. They met initially through FPLC. Ooh, it's interesting. That's interesting. Like, I was just curious at how they met up. Like, I was just like, okay, like, you don't see it that often. And then Heretics and Aves, they went through Team Secret, dude. They felt agonizingly short, okay? Like, if they beat Aves, they were making playoffs, okay? And that's the worst thing for Team Secret, because they had a lot of these matches that were winnable for them. You see here against Heretics, they lost to Aves once already, and then they lose to them twice. It's just so many matches that could have gone Team Secret's way, and in the end, it just didn't happen for them. Now, I'm going to get to the home sweet home week 3, and I get to week 4 as well. So week 3, Complexity. I think we're up to the Group D matches. Basically, the playoffs just went like this. So Sprout, big surprise there with Sprout losing. But Complexity, probably no surprises that they're going to win this tournament. Like, I didn't think there was going to be anything different. I thought they were always going to win this tournament. Complexity is just basically the best team on paper there. And I was actually quite shocked that Complexity was second in the group. Like, very, very shocked. I was like, how did they get second place? Like, how were they forced into the decider? Given that, Complexity are much better than Smash. That's what I'm going to put that. They're much better than Smash. And just Smash got that one-off, BO1. And, well, they got smashed up by Big. And Complexity took down Big in the final. Pretty close, actually. 19-16, 19-17. And probably the not closest one was Dust 2 of 16-10. Now we get to the week 4 of this tournament as well. And as you see here, a lot of casters here as well. If you guys don't know as well, if you guys didn't see or didn't hear, talking about Kieran, by the way, because Kieran's the head of Vortex Entertainment. Vortex Entertainment's no longer casting the Mountain Dew League. If you guys may have noticed that. Basically, the last week, they have not been casting Mountain Dew League. And I'm not sure what happened, but basically, out of nowhere, Vortex just stopped casting MDL. And I'm not sure what's going on. Like, they're not in the MDL channels anymore. Like, none of them are. So it's pretty strange what's happened with Vortex. So pretty much there's been a bit of a void of casters now with Vortex leaving the EU scene in MDL. So, not sure what's happened with Kieran, what's happened with Vortex. I just want to know what happened and what went on. So anyway, here's week 4. So week 4's going pretty well so far. Hard Legion continuing with their winning ways. Team Secret as well. I'm going to say this Team Secret, got top of their home sweet home group as well. And Endpoint, surprised Endpoint are 2-0 actually, because Endpoint always have, when you get to their qualifying games, Endpoint, they have a little bit of a choke, but this time they turned it around and won it. And at the moment, these matches are currently playing at the moment. The Flames, took down Evez, and Sprout took down the Youngsters, and obviously, not sure why this isn't being highlighted yet, but they won 16-14, but this says they're still live. And now you mentioned what did happen to Vortex. I have no idea. Like, all I saw was that they're not in the MDL channels anymore, and that's it. And I saw a message from one of the MDL guys saying that if you used to be in Vortex, you can now apply as an individual, which I was really confused about. I was just wondering what did happen. And there hasn't been anything on their Twitter for a while. I did check out some of the Twitter pages for the guys that used to work for Vortex. They said check the Discord. And obviously I don't have access to Discord, so I don't know what happened. Maybe it's disbanded, I'm not sure. But, basically it's going to leave a bit of a void in the EU scene. I think a lot of EU casters are going to start casting now, basically because Vortex is gone. Like I did get told by a few other casters that they stopped casting EU purely because of Vortex, because Vortex had such a grip on the scene. And they also said some other things as well, which I won't want to talk about because I don't have really anything to say. It is just a rumor. But yeah, it was just their grip on that scene was just really, really tight, and any other caster just really had no chance of holding a spot on that scene. And and that's what's happened. And yeah, also Unis brings up a good point. ESA channel has been casting a lot of games. It feels like they have. Basically, if you guys don't know what happened to the ESA as well, is that they changed their as we go to the NA scene, they changed their rescheduling. That you can't reschedule really willy-nilly. That, if you reschedule 48 hours before a match, you use a wild card, and your games have to be booked in before, and they have to be on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. They can't be on any other day, unless you get significant circumstances. And a few teams have changed onto a Monday already, but, it's not easy to apply for. And basically, ESA team has been casting a lot of games. And I'm going to say this now, I'm very sure why ESA have done this is because last season, ESA TV casted very few games, okay? Like, I think ESA TV only casted about 16 games last year, to be completely honest. Like, they only casted, I think, 16 to 20 games in EU. And even though it was a rush season, that's pretty low for ESEA. Because they can't cast Friday, they can't cast Monday, Sunday, or Saturday. And a lot of teams were scheduling their games, on the Monday, on the Friday, stuff like that, where ESA weren't casting. And I can understand why ESA have done that, because they might be paying their casters that cast on the ESEA channel. And if they are paying them, and they're casting no games, then what's the point? You either get more games for them to cast, or you don't pay them. And of course, ESA aren't going to do that. And ESA have been casting more games. In fact, I think ESA have casted at least 60% of the EU games, okay? I think I've only casted 4 EU games this season, okay? I've only casted 4 EU games this season, okay? And, yeah, with the first being Gamer League, I think it was Gamer Legion v... where Gamer Legion got completely obliterated against Nordavind. And, it's all the games that have been casted so far. It's like, all the other games, I think, were either rescheduled or, rescheduled just, in the nick of time. The other one was Team Singularity being Namiga. And what was the other game as well? I think the other game was a doubleheader last night, Alternate Attacks. And the Movistar Riders v Sprout. Alternate Attacks being packed, of course. And we're going to talk about the NA scene. So the NA scene, there's actually a few forfeits. And it was actually a tweet by, because Mythic, won by a forced forfeit as well. There's actually a tweet from Flom about the new ESA scheduling system, about the wild cards and the rescheduling and stuff like that. And it was really, really quite pissed off, is that one of the teams had to forfeit against them because they didn't have a fifth. And, if they could reschedule it, just before, then they could have saved the game and actually played it. And, he wasn't particularly happy with it at all. I think maybe in week 2, actually, that Mythic did have to forfeit a match. No, they didn't, but they weren't particularly happy with it. Ironically enough, Mythic are currently the top team of the NA MDL. We'll go through the matches here. Basically, there's a few forfeits here and there. And also with Bad News Bears disbanding, probably not a good time for the MDL at the moment. I think without them forfeiting all their games. And there's been a lot of forfeits in the new scheduling system as well. So the Americans aren't really proactive with whether they're going to reschedule or not. And what I've been noticing as well, there's been a lot of wildcards used in the NA scene as well. So this might come back to bite them as well when they have no wildcards left, because every team gets 2 wildcards to use. So it might bite them in the end if they don't use it. And overall, with the games, it's been good to see that Rugrats are winning a few games as well. Don't like it when Xander isn't happy. But it's also good to see Recon 5 winning their games as well. Even though they're quite close winning their games against these teams. In fact, I think it was against Morning Light as well that they picked off from 14-12. And they still won that as well. The interesting one is Infinity taking down Buff Daddies. I know Whitmore and all the others have left to Vanguard, or not Vanguard, Valorant. But, it's, kind of interesting how, basically there's a lot of pug teams, as, Curry said, in the MDL. Like, a lot of them. Like, look at these pug teams. Like, no logos. Let's keep the comms up. Alcoholics Anonymous. Rugrats is best NA or no or NA team now? Yeah, they would be. They would be. Or Swedish Canadians. Not terribly sure. But with the NA scene, like, I think there's going to be a lot of forfeited spots. And I think NA scene might not even have a direct relegation. Team Spirit v VP 15-13. Yes, Team Spirit should win that. Next up, we're going to go to EU. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So, we got the first game that I cast, which was Game of Legion v Skade. And that was, before last week. And, dude, Game of Legion played terrible. That's all I'm going to say. They played terrible. They played, like, absolute bad. That's all I'm going to say about this. Then so Demolition Crew is having been of an issue at the moment. So Demolition Crew at the moment has been unable to have they only have 4 players in the lineup because Devo Duvic's left the lineup. Just in case you guys don't know, Devo Duvic has left the lineup. And, well, they haven't found the 5th. Like, they have, 5 players in the team. They have Morals and another Polish player. But they just can't find a 5th. And Demolition Crew is never going to get an org, considering what David P did to Heretics, basically. So Nordovin also forfeited to Hellraisers as well. And Nordovin forfeited to Hellraisers purely because of Home Sweet Home. Because they had the player BO3. So the second match I cast which was Nordovin v Gamer Legion. And dude, this was absolute hell on earth. As Nordovin basically obliterated Gamer Legion. It was 16-5. It wasn't even fair. Then Pack took down Hellraisers. Sprout got taken down by Endpoint. This was probably one of the biggest upsets of the tournaments. Team Spirit wins. Well, I'm going to say Noob. Team Spirit were always going to win that because they are a lot better team, a lot more consistent. This was a big overtime game between Namiga and Singularity. Singularity came back from being 9-6 down on Singularity going to their T side. Won 9 T side rounds to get to overtime. But in the end, Namiga wins. Then there was a lot of, very close games. Unicorns getting taken down by Whistler. But then here comes the close games. 19-17 to Sprout. 16-12 to Pact. And then Pact continuously winning these games as well. Then it gets to the 14th. And I casted 2 of these games as well. Which was the Riders v Sprout. And Alternate Attacks v Pact. And this is getting a bit of an issue for the Movistar Riders. The Riders got absolutely obliterated by Sprout. It was actually really, really poor watching. But just the Riders just didn't look in it at all. The entire game. And this one was very, very close between Pact and Alternate Attacks. It was basically an arm wrestle throughout the entire way. And Gamer Legion continue getting obliterated by, getting obliterated in general. And Gamer Legion have not played well at all. I'm going to say now, they've not played well at all in the MDL. And of course, the German Derby ends up with Alternate Attacks winning 16-3. And AGO taking down Hellraisers as well, the Hellraisers' new lineup. And now we've got waiting for the next part. It's going to be Namiga v Alternate Attacks and then Demolition Crew v Endpoint. And, that's going to be it for the EMDL. Nothing really coming out yet. There's no top teams as of yet. Teams are going to make the playoffs yet. Of course, there's also 2 teams that haven't played a match, though, which is, Prosto and Spirit. And we need probably them to play before we can really talk about it a bit more. Now, lastly, it's going to be the Australian matches. So, the Australian matches here with Justice taking down Forbidden Gaming, which I casted. And then Mako taking down the 419. If you guys don't know, Fury have died. So Fury are a dead team. And Team Skyfire taking down over in 16-14 on Vertigo. Very, very close Vertigo, by the way. Then we have the big match between Order v Avant. So basically, there was no Tuesday games. And Order wins that 16-11. A big game in the scheme of things of who's going to be top and who's going to be second. And then Incept took down the ESC Open. Very, very dominating. And Order took down Paradox pretty easy as well. And the truck is literally basically steamrolled Forbidden. And as per usual as well, Fury forfeited to Mako. And Order, this was a tough game to watch. I was casting Order v the 419. that was tough watch. That was a really, really game that was hard to watch because basically the 419 were completely obliterated off the park. Like, they just didn't have a chance, you know? They did not have a chance. It was basically Ricky got 155 ADR and he was like, rating was like 2.7. Okay, it was just insane. And Ground Zero with the new roster, with Leaky debuting, took down Incept, and Fury, of course, over getting a free win over Fury. And Avant taking out ESC Open, and dude, this is probably the biggest, big result for Ground Zero. Ground Zero obliterating Truckers of Attitude, and Truckers of Attitude took down Skyfire. And I was thinking there's going to be a close affair between these two teams, but didn't end up being a close affair at all. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the CSGO stuff at the moment. I know, ended on with the highlights of the league so far and what I thought about these games. But, next I'm going to have the game review sections, and I'm going to take a bit of a break in between because I need to desperately go to the toilet. And then we're going to talk about the game reviews afterwards. CSGO Show, keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for the NA scene. I think there's going to be more rumblings to come out of the NA scene with all these switches to Valorant. And I think I'm going to agree with Richard. This is my outro, but I think I'm going to agree with Richard about it as well. It's about a lot of the players that are switching over. They're probably going to find out that it wasn't the game that was the issue. It's usually themselves, okay? Because they couldn't make it as far in the CSGO. Maybe it's going to be because of themselves. I think it's going to be the honest truth, is that they're going to come back to CSGO. They're going to be like, oh my god, Valorant's a fresh air. Oh my god, Valorant's this and Valorant's that. They'll live the honeymoon period. And then when push comes to shove and some competitive play comes in, they're gonna fall apart to the same mental issues. Like, I mean, look at the CSGO players that went to Overwatch. Who's the only person that stayed, okay? Who was the only person that stayed? Can anyone name me a person who stayed, okay? There's one person who stayed, okay? Inside his head? No, it's just common sense, man. It's just really common sense, Noobage. It's really, really common sense. Like, most of the issues, like, in CSGO, you have amazing aim, okay? You can practice aim. You can practice, executes. You can practice frag grenades. You can practice smokes. You can practice molotovs. But you can't practice mental issues, okay? And this is what's coming down to, like, Tier 2 and Tier 1 CS, is the determination to win the rounds, the determination, the calculations, the mental games you got to play with the other team, That's what wins you rounds. It's not the aim, not the skill. Like, most of these players are probably the same skill level, probably the same aim level. There's probably not much difference between some players and their aim. It's about the confidence and the psyche that they have inside of them. And that's what's going to happen. And if you guys are wondering, if you guys haven't, you guys are just waiting to name the player, the only player who stayed in Overwatch League after CSGO is AZK. Okay? So if you want to know, the only person who stayed in the Overwatch League to win over from CSGO was AZK. All the other players came back. And I have a feeling, am I Richard Lewis' puppet master? Not really. Like, we just probably share the same opinions, okay? Like, it's just blatantly obvious. Like, it's just speaking the obviousness of it all, the honestly obvious, like, what's going to happen. And, we've probably been around a long time to see how much mental issues have in a game. Like, we've probably seen, all these players, be, like, lacking confidence and having good confidence and making great plays. Like, for example, like, let's just say John Flatroof thinks he's, like, the worst player when he plays today. He's probably not going to get the 31 kills he usually gets. Okay? But it's gonna run into these psychological issues that these players have. And that's blocking them from going to the next level. Like, that's what they're going to find out in Valorant. Some of these players will go in there, they won't try to solve their issues. They'll be like, okay, Valorant's just shit, full of toxicity, I'm out. That sort of shit, okay? They'll do that. They'll do that cop-out. Because that's what a lot of people do. They do the cop-out. They do the, I'm not playing this game's crap, I'm out of here. And it's mainly due to them, not due to the game. Okay, the game's fine. It's just due to them being frustrated that their same issues that they're having in CSGO, it's getting in the way for Valorant, okay? And it's hard to work through mental issues. In fact, football players in the AFL work through these mental issues over and over and over again. In fact, Australia's hired a goddamn sports psychologist because Australia's used to be the biggest chokers in CSGO history before they started winning tournaments. And this is what it comes down to. Is like a lot of people, like, it's all psychological issues. It's all mental. Like, they're not mentally ill. It's just the issues in here, the confidence in here, that's restricting them. Like it's not anything they've got. Like, you know, let's talk about the Riders winning 2-0, 2-1 against Mouse Sports. You heard what Steele said? Steele said his players, you know, realizing now that they can take on these big teams. You know? Like Steele said exactly that. It's like, you know, we can take on these big teams. He's trying to tell his players we're good enough. And now his players see that they're good enough. And he's been saying that. He's been trying to tell me, guys, we can beat this team. And, you know, Steele from, you know, Movie Star Riders, the Brazilian Steele, he realizes it. He knows most of its mental issues. Trying to tell the players, encouraging them to just go get them, you know? In fact, LDLC did that to Dignitas. LDLC didn't care that it was Get Right Forest, Freiburg, Hallzerk, and Exist. They just fucking just didn't care. I was like, okay, we're LDLC. You know, we were going to beat you, you know? And LDLC won 2-0 in the DreamHack qualifiers. That's pretty much it. Anyways, guys, that's it for Chilltime for today. If you enjoyed the YouTube video, subscribe below. If you enjoyed, you know, if you want to watch me live on Twitch when I do these shows, you know, come along on Twitch. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And also you can follow me on Twitter and the socials. That'll be also in the video below. This is just for the YouTubers, just in case you guys are wondering on Twitch. I'm not going to end stream anytime soon. And YouTubers, I hope you guys have a great day. See you guys later.